we have this bad habit of thinking we can do more in a day than we really can. But I think one of the most powerful quotes I ever heard was, most people overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in a decade. And if you plan for the decade, you can achieve incredible results. But if you plan for the year, you're probably just going to make it way too big. You need to start with a vision. The vision of how you want to be living your life in 10, 20, 30, 40 years, depending on how old you are. I always think, like, imagine yourself retired. What would you like to be doing? And you can do that at any age. But most people's vision of that is, oh, we're going to travel the world. I'm going to be climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. I'm going to be playing with my grandkids and all this lot. And yet they're stuffing their face with junk food, gaining weight and becoming diabetic. And you think, well, you're not going anywhere. You're going to be having to stay at home because you've got hospital appointments to attend. Now, is that the way you want to live your final years? Probably not. So once you know that let's say you want to have an active retirement, well, that means you need to be setting goals that are going to keep you in good health. You don't have to be like an Olympic athlete, but thinking about how you're going to eat. Like this year, my goal is to quit sugar, for example, or this year I'm going to quit junk food. You decide what you're going to do, because it's all part of that ultimate vision. So the vision is pulling you rather than you feel like you're pushing yourself through life. You want something to pull you, because pulling is much easier. If you're being pulled, that's so much easier. So my wife and I, we have these crazy goals, if you like, or crazy vision for what we want to do in the future. And it's quite funny, there's a small airport about 25 miles north of here, and every time we drive past, we're saying it's where we're going to park the private jet. Now, we kind of half jokingly say that, but there's a side of that we're saying, yeah, we're going to build this big international business, this big global business, and we will need a private jet because we'll be doing talks. I mean, the way that the world has changed in the last 2 years, it's probably unlikely I'll be flying around the world doing talks to thousands of people in a stadium, because we're moving, all that kind of stuff is moving online. But it's still a vision of how I want my business to grow. So it's not so much about the goals, it's what you have to do in order to become the person that you want to become. So for me, health and fitness is really important because I don't ever want to retire. So I took inspiration from Prince Philip when he passed away last year. There was lots of articles. Prince Philip retired when he was 97. I'm going, that's my life. That's what I want. And that got me interested. So how did he still perform every day until the age of 12? He died at 99. And when he retired, he actually retired to a farm. So he was still farming even at 99. But I was thinking, how did he do that? And then I realized, and when I discovered it was, he did this exercise program called 5BX, which is 5 basic exercises that he did every single day from the time he was in the Navy. I was thinking, wow, that's like 70 years the guy did these exercises every single day. And I thought, well, there you go. That's kind of how he maintained the strength to be able to keep going. And I was thinking, that's what I want. I want the strength to keep going and going and going and going. I never want to retire. So now I know I have to exercise every day. If you really want to get better with time management and productivity, you really have to understand what's important to you first. Now, the mistake most people make is they start with what's important with my boss and my customers and my clients. Well, yeah, but that's dealing with the here and now. What you really want to do is start with you. What's important to you? And there's usually 8. There's 8 things that we all share. Family and relationships, finances, career, personal development, health and fitness, lifestyle, life experiences. There's these 8 areas that they're in common with everybody. But the priority changes depending on where you are in life. So when you're in school, self-development, education, that's going to be a priority. And when you get older, you'll realize that family and relationships are very important. Finances start climbing up the ladder. When you're at school, bank of mum and dad is taking care of the finances, so it's probably low down on your list. But as moving up and you get married and you get a mortgage and things, your finances is going to start moving up the ladder. Lifestyle and life experiences is always there or thereabouts. And again, as you get older, health and fitness starts raising its head, and that will start climbing. So it changes as we go through life, but they're still the same. And once you know what they mean to you, and you can associate tasks that need to be performed regularly, whether monthly, weekly, or daily, that's where it starts. And then everything else comes on top. So you always know that each day, each week, you're taking care of the important things in your life rather than in somebody else's life. Because the easy way out is to wait for somebody to tell you what to do, which is what 99% of the population does, because they wait for their boss to tell them to do something, or their partner to say, come on, let's go shopping, let's go to this place for our holiday. They're always waiting for somebody else to tell them what to do, when really you want to take control of your life and say, this is what I want to do. Are you going to join me on my journey? And that's when you start getting inspired, and that's that pull, because you know what you want to achieve. The tasks that you have to do, you need to get them written down somewhere. So even if you don't want to use anything digital, just get a piece of paper and just write it all down, because that process of writing down will tell you what needs to be done. You'll see the important stuff. It'll jump out at you. But if you leave it in your head doesn't know what's important and what's not important. So it reminds you of the most stupidest things at the most stupidest times, like, buy milk when you're having a beer in the pub. That's not the time to tell me to buy milk. Or you call back this client, but it tells you it's at like 11 p.m. at night. The brain is just terrible at that sort of thing. It doesn't have a time context. But if you can just externalize everything that you feel in your mind that you have to do, just write it all down, you'll see I've got these 5 calls. So let's group them together, and I'll do those at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. I've got to reply to all these emails. Well, let's give myself an hour to clear my email. You can, once you see it either digitally or on paper, now you can make much, much better decisions. And your brain lets go, which is fantastic, because once your brain lets go, you can breathe.